you're losing your ground till the afterglow. The afterglow. Fading away. You look so great when you gotta shine. One more part of you is gone now, as you keep smiling at the crowd. Pressure is your best enemy. Spotlights show what I wanna see. Sometimes it feels like you're under attack. You just can't break free. I'll be there when you're down, when you're losing your ground, till the afterglow. The afterglow. I'll be there when you fall, when you're losing it all. In the afterglow. In the afterglow. Whoa!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in Fort Worth, Texas on the final day of Wrestlemania week. It is Chris Best. I've got OMD starting the show with me. It's been a while since we've done this.
It has,
But-
and ladies and gentlemen, this is something you can get used to seeing. I will be here at 8 o'clock every Friday night.
And starting May 8th, there may be times where I may need to make a run-in.
Exactly. As we have seen the Street Profits, now the Motor City Machine Guns, and there is DIY entering the building, all getting ready for a TLC Tag Team Championship match here tonight.
And our current U.S. champion, Jacob Fatu, coming into the building right now.
Yes, he is wearing the belt, one of the ways Umaga used to, around his neck.
It's actually how he used to wear the heavyweight title in MLW as well. Then again, in MLW, he was a big boy, and that belt was not fitting around his waist.
Right. And how do we start the show?
Well, with a little highlight package from everything that took place at WrestleMania last weekend.
Yes, and lots of speculation running around as to some potential debuts.
I don't know. I haven't read anything. I choose not to read anything before the shows. So... Man, the sea of humanity there.
Right?
Over 124,000 tickets were sold for this event.
Yes.
I say that as tickets because it's not actually 124,000 people that attend.
Right.
I kind of wish in that El Grande Americano match, I sort of wish that there was more involvement from Vikingo. I don't know why, but I kind of wish that.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, you've just signed this deal, and maybe Vikingo isn't ready. I mean, yes, you gave him the ringside seat, but maybe he's not ready for that WrestleMania spotlight quite yet. We know he's got a match this weekend in TNA.
Yes.
So I'm okay with the fact that he got involved before the match as opposed to during the match. Because one thing we noticed is really, with one major exception, there was no interference throughout the entirety of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I know you like to call a lot of interference possibly happening, but isn't it nice when there's a show that doesn't have any of that?
It is.
No, the reason I kind of thought of it would have been great if there was more Vikingo is if to kind of help promote the Worlds Collide event in June.
Right.
Maybe you slow build, like I said, maybe you slow build some kind of an invasion angle between AAA and the WWE.
Right. But I'm wondering if, because it's Worlds Collide, I'm wondering if that's going to be more of an NXT and AAA thing. Because we do know that Worlds Collide is also on the same day as Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And if that's the case, I wonder if you get TNA involved in some form or fashion.
Right?
And we're getting our show started off with John Cena making his way to the ring.
Yes.
Our 17-time World Heavyweight Champion. Sorry, WWE Undisputed Champion.
Yes, it still feels weird to say that.
So I guess Fort Worth isn't special enough to get their own shirt from John Cena.
No.
And as I said that, I see the You Can't See Me actually has cowboy stuff on it. So,
Yep.
Okay, I guess Fort Worth is special enough.
We was wrong.
I don't know why, but I'm not a fan of him wearing the belt backwards.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't mind it as a heel tactic. But again, it's just because we are so used to him carrying it on his shoulder, having it around the front, and running out there and celebrating all of that stuff.
I don't know. I guess I'm a fan of how wrestlers should traditionally carry their titles, whether it's over their shoulder or around the waist, with the with the plates facing out front. A lot of "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants going on right now, guys. Can't even get a word in, and the Viper is making his presence felt. Of course, you know that Randy Orton took out John Cena on Monday night. Obviously, he's looking to get a title match, possibly at Backlash.
Yes, as you just alluded to, I do have a feeling that's the way we're leaning, especially with Backlash being in St. Louis. Good evening to you, Pete. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us, buddy. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, glad to have you here, Pete. Randy Orton taking his ever loving sweet ass time getting into the ring right now. How's it going, Mr. Parrish?
Hello, hello. Got some Randy Orton and John Cena going on. Randy Orton's trying to tell John Cena just who he remembers him to be. John Cena said the only reason why he doesn't have kids is because he spent the last 25 years raising the fans. Now telling the fans that he was a better parent than they'll ever be. Now, Randy Orton's trying to convince John Cena that without the fans, there would be no WWE, and without Hollywood, there would be no WWE, and vice versa. Basically, trying to remind John Cena that he is no bigger than the people he performs in front of. Just want to remind everyone that turnbucklestudios.org is the new domain name for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So go check out turnbucklestudios.org now. And if you want to help the channel out, please check us out on YouTube and subscribe. You want to hit the thumbs up notification button to not only like the video, it helps our algorithm and goes a long way. Make sure you hit a follow and a subscription to all the other platforms. It definitely means a lot, and we appreciate it very much. We have 8 followers to go on the Twitch side. We are at 162, wanting to get to 170. So please help us out on that front as we try to reach our goal.
This promo is getting real heated right now.
Now, John Cena is reminding Randy Orton that he has won 17. Randy has won 14, but when he ruins wrestling and is done and walks out with that title, Randy Orton is frozen. Now, if you did not like the John Cena match at WrestleMania, just realize this. John Cena promised you to give you nothing. And that's what he gave you. He gave you no theme change. He gave you no new merchandise that made you pleased with it. Nah. He doesn't even wrestle the way you want him to wrestle anymore. He doesn't give you what you want in a performance. He doesn't even give you a nice entrance, let alone a new theme song. So John Cena's kept up his end of the bargain. John Cena has now alluded to the match between Randy Orton and John Cena not being tonight, but in St. Louis at Backlash.
I know we don't have to pay for it on pay-per-view, but take my money already for this match.
Yep. Good evening to you, Bubba. What's happening? Well, of course, the Smackdown Security Detail. Hope all is well with you. It's good to see you, brother. We just had an interesting vignette for Fraxium on our screens.
We got Legado del Fantasma making their way to the ring.
That we do. And up next, they will be facing Fraxium.
Three-minute commercial break. I ended up actually missing the NFL draft last night.
So did I.
Parrish,
You're muted.
Cool. I'm going to talk about wrestling right now. Because I want to talk about what we just saw, the Fraxium thing. I want to talk about the potential call-ups or potential new faces we may see tonight, because this is the Smackdown after WrestleMania. We know we have the Mysterio vignette that most likely is either the return of Aleister Black or could be the WWE debut of Malachi Black. We don't know the name necessarily.
Yeah.
But we do know that figure is going to be there tonight. We have seen Fraxium. Who else could we see? Now, they alluded to a potential surprise for Tiffany Stratton. Do we see somebody from NXT like a Jordan Grace? Could we even see someone else pop up?
I could absolutely see Jordan Grace, as she is from Texas, and we are in Fort Worth tonight.
Yeah, one of the call-ups I heard about was one Tony D'Angelo, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to put this out there. Given the ongoing feud that he has right now, I don't know if I will necessarily say he's a call-up at the time, but he could be somebody in the draft that allows the storyline with Stacks to come to a completion.
Yes.
But as we are hitting the 1 minute mark away from being back, I'm going to remind everyone that this whole commercial thing will not be going on in the last hour. As they said, the final hour of SmackDown will be commercial free. And yes, even though a lot of the international audience, we don't get commercials per se, we just get these videos of the wrestlers getting ready, and we'll be right back, or said in a multiple amount of languages. But we won't see that, as we do see a visual of Naomi. And I'm going to throw this out there. Could Naomi be that person instead of maybe a new face? Because I have some time to see Naomi putting herself into that WWE Women's title picture.
Well, I'm 100% with you on that one. Yeah, because I can't think of like any woman who's due to return, with maybe the exception of Asuka, but she's still down till the summer, and she's right now she's on Raw.
Yes.
But at the same time, roster schmonsters, it don't matter.
Well, there is a name that I have heard that is set to return imminently from injury. And although she is on the Raw roster, could we see Kairi Sane?
Well, I know we are seeing Fraxium right now, as Axiom and Nathan Frazier have made their way to SmackDown. Now, could this be a potential night we see the Wyatt Six and maybe the inclusion of one Alexa Bliss.
I think we absolutely could, especially if we continue to see the fractures in Legato.
Well, I was going to say perhaps it's Alexa Bliss that steps up to Tiffany. But right off the get-go, Nathan Frazier and Axiom just taking it to Legado del Fantasma right now.
Yes.
Actually, they're called Los Garza best.
Yes.
But yes, you are correct in saying we are seeing Fraxium and what they're capable of, the speed, the athleticism, the creative double team offense that they do have. Gonna be a fresher breath air into the tag team division on SmackDown if this does mean they're here to stay.
Yeah.
And as we are getting a triple threat TLC match tonight, I will admit that I had thought the idea of Fraxium was possible to debut tonight, but I did have them potentially coming in and making their debut and their presence felt during that match. And I know it can still happen, but not likely now.
I think what we have is a better suitable representation of the tag team division, as we do have three of the very best on SmackDown, whether it's the Machine Guns, whether it's DIY or the Street Profits, your reigning defending tag team champions. We now also see Los Garza. We now see Fraxium. And we haven't even talked about Pretty Deadly. And that's 6 already teams on SmackDown, just to name a few. So,
and I know
go ahead.
There's a team in there that you got that I know you're not as big a fan of. That would be Mellow Don't Miz.
I don't dislike them. What I just don't like is the Miz's current character. I would like to see him getting a little bit more serious. Plus, I think they still need to define themselves more as a tag team instead of just two people hanging out,
right?
Having the odd match. I'm still not going to give them the benefit of the doubt just yet. Especially when the last time we saw those two, well, Carmelo Hayes won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, so he got an individual achievement.
Yeah.
So, but now we're seeing Los Garza take back control of this matchup, slowing the pace down, which is definitely the right thing you have to do with Fraxium, and you got to capitalize when they're at the slowest, because at any time they could speed it up, and that's when you're in trouble. That rapid offense is not only the strength of Fraxium, but it's also one of their best attributes. So you got to really be on your toes when you're facing the team of Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Oh, you're so right on that one. But however, Las Garza, they've been known to match speed with some of the speediest tag teams, and so far we've seen them kind of match the speed of Axiom.
Yeah, and lately they have the tendency of getting in their own head and making a mistake. So it'll be very interesting to see what kind of Los Garza we see. As right now we get to seem to have a very fluid and very focused Los Garza right now.
Yeah, very vicious. Berto, especially. He's just
Yeah,
he's got kind of like a chip on his shoulder tonight.
absolutely he does. And I mean, I've noticed sort of a subtle change to his look, where the hair's a little more flowy tonight. Doesn't quite have that baby face going on with that wannabe mustache and soul patch that he's going for.
Well, I think after he was caught talking a little too much about Ray Phoenix and then not being able to back up those words in defeat to Ray Phoenix, only to have Santos Escobar kind of give him that lashing.
Yeah.
If that doesn't give you a little spark, then there really is a different issue going in. But I do think Garza has the pride, at the very least, to be better.
Yeah.
But yes, that is definitely one of his downfalls in my eyes. He just appears to be too pretty to be an ass kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's not translating in the segments for him to appear otherwise. So I definitely need to see it in the physicality.
To me, Berto kind of reminds me of Justin Gabriel when he was a heel. He pretty much had the same look.
I see exactly where you're coming from.
You know, in a very good like a mid-card tag team feud, I'd love to see Pretty Deadly with Los Garza.
Yeah.
Yep, I'd 100% get behind that.
Now, I've always had a wanting to see Angel Garza kind of on his own. He gives me a very much Adam Cole vibe. And I think that there is something to him. I just don't think he's been able to capitalize on it just yet. There always seems to be a little hesitation in his game.
Yeah.
And there's not enough straight up consistency, maybe.
Yeah.
But even just watching him right now, I get nothing but Adam Cole vibe from him. And that's not a bad thing by any means.
Somebody's TV is up.
Yeah, Phyraxium taking the win on that one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as is expected, right? I mean, This is kind of their debut here. So you do believe that they were going to go that direction as they did. Now, we just see DIY. Yes, it's a shaven Tommaso Ciampa, and the reason is he took a fall and split his chin, and in order to get the stitches, he had to shave his beard.
Yep.
So not the most manly way to have to shave, but one nonetheless.
Right. While we are in this Snickers break, if you gentlemen will give me a moment, it is time for the patented OMD locker room visit.
Beautiful.
OMD's going to go drop some Snickers of his own.
Well, if you want to get that link up there, we have the good old-fashioned ad read for the locker room visit. That's right. if you want to take a tumble because your stomach is ready to rumble, you have a feeling of going to carlcarafel.redbubble.com and picking up one of those locker room visit t-shirts. That's right. Dropping a deposit isn't the only thing you're doing once you're in that checkout. No, that's right. You're supporting OMD, who's also dropping a deposit of his own when he visits the locker room visit. So don't be a number 2. Go to the locker room visit and be a number 1, especially when you can be the one who goes to carlcarafel.redbubble.com and pick up the locker room visit t-shirt or whatever you want. You can get a plethora of things, just like in the locker room, there's a plethora of ways to feel relief. You don't have to go full Tua. You just have to give a hawk Tua yourself. And you just got to spit on that thing that is your intuition of going to get one of those locker room visit t-shirts. So make sure you go to carlcarafel.redbubble.com now and pick up your own piece of the locker room merchandise, because just like an instant flush, it can all go away once the deposits are gone.
That was quite the ad read.
Well, thank you. I have to follow script, you know. But as we prepare for that TLC match that most likely is the headliner of tonight's show, who do you have walking away from the with the championships?
I haven't given it a lot of thought because I like all 3 teams. But selfishly, I want to see DIY take it because I'm more of a fan of them than the other 2.
Fair enough. I really hope this is a match where we see the tag titles and the tag division shine. But I also think we need a standalone team. And I think the Street Profits are that team right now, because I do feel come draft, we might see a DIY or a Motor City Machine Guns go over to Monday nights. And because of that, we need somebody with consistency staying on Fridays. And then if you bring over, say, a Creed Brothers or the resurgence now of Axiom, or if maybe an idea of bringing Gallus up, yeah, that would be something that could shake up the SmackDown side. I'd have a lot of time, as we are just seconds away from being back in action. How do we feel, OMD?
Better. A little more relieved.
As predicted. As we know, it's Tiffy time going down the ring. I know you guys are asking about the draft. I still want to let you know that we are on pick 56. Shadur Sanders is still available.
That's actually a big surprise.
But what isn't a surprise is Tiffany Stratton walking in WrestleMania, your women's champion, walking out, still women's champion, with a hard knock fight with the Queen, the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner, Charlotte Flair. Whether you thought she chipped a tooth, chipped her gums, whatever the case may be, Tiffany Stratton took a licking. But Tiffy, time is still ticking. She is now in the ring, still your women's champion. But what does she have to say? Also, because it is related to WWE, the Bears on the clock at 56, and your visionary, revolutionary is making the round 2 pick for the Chicago Bears. That's right. Seth Rollins is making the pick for the Chicago Bears.
Well, I didn't have Jade showing up on my bingo card here.
I certainly didn't have a Jade versus Tiffany match tonight.
Now, I didn't peg Jade, but I did figure that if we saw a Naomi, we would have a Jade. But now that we have a Jade, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Naomi.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if we get a triple threat match at Backlash.
Oh, see it. I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if we get, instead of Naomi, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Bianca.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Bianca and Naomi in some fashion. Now, we may not have been surprised on Monday to see Rusev, but we were surprised to see the alliance with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
We're at the final show of the week after WrestleMania. Do we think there's a possibility that we see Matt Cardona?
I hope
No.
so.
I'd love to see it, but no, I don't think so.
We know he was around WWE all weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously in support of his wife. The one and the only, the inaugural, the first ever, longest rating the most dangerous, the tallest, the shortest, the oldest, the youngest, your president, Chelsea Green. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
She also said on Chris Van Vliet that she expects Matt Cardona and wants Matt Cardona to be back with WWE in some time. But when is some time?
I would see something like that for SummerSlam. I know Matt is busy. He is preparing for a TNA X Division title match this weekend.
Yeah, but so is Ethan Page. He's prepping for a world title match.
He is.
So it's nothing out of the norm that somebody who's doing TNA is also doing WWE.
No.
And I do believe he's on a paid by appearance deal with TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Which means there's nothing concrete in that contract status. Now, Bass, we were watching that fun little monologue that they always give us in between commercials with WWE and SmackDown. And it showed Pretty Deadly. And I know in the past you said that you have a little bit of unsurety when it comes to who's who in Pretty Deadly.
I do.
Now, the dark hair individual, that is Kit Wilson. The
Yeah.
blonde is Elton Prince.
Yeah, see, I remember Elton Prince, but I forget Kit's name half the time, too, now.
Yep.
Well, just
And see, I want to call him Kip. Not Kit. Kip.
so. Just letting you know.
Yeah. I still see some of that uncertainty you've talked about with Jade Cargill's in-ring there, perish a little bit there.
It's not that there's uncertainty. It's a matter of we're seeing the growing pains and we're seeing the growth with her.
Mhm.
And even though there is a load of potential, it's still I don't want to say ways away, but we're still far removed from the finished product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is not a knock. That is just an understanding because the sky is high for Jade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there's no denying the fact that she has been putting in her work. I mean, since her time in AEW, where you can tell she was incredibly new to the business and not sure of how everything works in the ring, to now, there has been improvements for sure.
Well, it just shows you that reps go a long way, but also finding that confidence in yourself and who you are and not having to second guess every little thing goes such a long way And I think Jade Cargill is at that point of now she knows who she is. I think the struggle with her is now finding that, okay, what is my move set? What is Jade Cargill as a performer? We know what she is as a character, but who is she as a performer? And that is now where we're getting those, I don't want to say bumps in the roads, but we're taking the odd detour and then we're getting back onto the destination point. And I think once we get back on the destination, it is smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
But we will get those odd detours from time to time. And that is just how it is when you're cutting your teeth in this business. It's not easy to grow up in this business on the biggest stage, and that is WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the majority of her WWE career, Jade has been a babyface. But the majority of her AEW career, she was a heel. Tiffany, for the most part, has been a heel. And now we're seeing these two in-betweeners, I guess, because they're not quite fully face, not fully heel, go at it.
Oh, they're fully babyface.
They're full babyface right now.
As soon as Tiffany Stratton cashed in and won that championship, she turned. And she isolated that turn with her stuff with Nia afterward. And then if you're booing Tiffany Stratton in that Charlotte Flair feud, you're just being a smart ass at that point. No. And also, there's no in-between. When she gets challenged by Jade Cargill like she did earlier, and she said, get a referee, let's do it now. Let's not wait till up next PLE like John Cena did. Mm-hmm. That screams fighting champion. And I don't know a heel that's a fighting champion.
Right.
But what we're getting right now is I find a very competitive match, and I think it's a prove-it match for both competitors. Now, I do think Tiffany Stratton, despite the win with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, still has that chip on her shoulder to identify herself as a major player and the woman on SmackDown in WWE. There's still that competitive want to get up to the top. And we see Jade Cargill, who I believe might be one of the most motivated people in WWE, given her past, given what she's going through to get to where she is, and then taking the good with the bad and trying to be a consistent performer, which I do think she is more consistent now than she's ever been.
Yeah.
What I'm very curious about with this matchup is where it goes, what it leads to, but how it benefits both individuals afterwards. Because, yes, you can do a one-off on a babyface versus babyface match. It's good for the fans. But what you're getting right now is a little bit of quietness because the fans aren't sure necessarily who to cheer for. They know what to react to.
Right.
And I think that's one area where you need to add a little bit of spice, that a heel is some interference, something just to remind the fans, oh yeah, I got to root for this person or that person, or I got to not root for that person. As we do have Abraham Razzo. Please let me know if I'm getting that name right. First off, thank you so much for joining us. I am Chris Parrish. Over on that side, it's weird. I can't point to that direction. Is Chris Best. Below myself is OMD. We are the Smackdown Security Detail. Coming in with the comment, Cody should turn on Randy at Backlash. Turn him heel before he gets stale. Now I want to point this to you guys. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think Cody's getting stale at all.
No, I don't either.
Now, I'm going to put this out with a question, though. do we think Cody Rhodes is stale because he did receive boos at WrestleMania and on SmackDown? Although it did take him, 10 seconds with the microphone to get the crowd back on his side on SmackDown. Is he getting stale based on that? Or is he getting stale, Abraham, based off your personal opinion? Now, I ask because we do have the situational John Cena going for history and that 17 times world champion. Around WrestleMania, we do get the fans that just want to cheer the heel no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I think it was more so a cheering for the moment, knowing that they could see history.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Me too.
I was at a football game where had the home team lost, they would have set a historic record at the most home losses in a row. Had they won, it would have been their first home win under their new name. So I was torn. Either way, we're seeing something. But
Right.
I wanted to see the loss because it was like 3 years in the making. So Abraham also coming in with his rebuttal. I think he just needs to change it up a little bit, but I think he needs to be a better heel. And I don't think you're incorrect by any means there, Abraham. I just think at this point, we need that want. And I don't think we really want Cody Rhodes to be a heel yet. I do think it's coming. I do think it's in due time. But I agree. We have to see something different now that he is no longer your universal or your undisputed champion.
And there's that Naomi involvement.
Yep.
All right. Now, I don't mind the beatdown, but I definitely would like to see Naomi less catfightish on her attack.
Yeah.
Just lay it in.
I was just going to say, while she was standing there, she should have laid in a couple of boots.
But Abraham, I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. If you want to be as active as you are, we appreciate that. We definitely like the questions. But if you're on the YouTube side, and if you haven't already, please hit subscribe so you can be notified every time Turnbuckle Studios goes live. But if you want to hit that thumbs up to identify that you do like this video, that helps us and helps the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. But we also very much appreciate you being a part of the comments and the activity and sharing the SmackDown with us today. And that is, in fact, if you are watching SmackDown right now.
Oh. Well, our former WWE Women's Champion has just made her return, that being one Nia Jax.
And it makes all the sense in the world
Because
it opened up an opportunity for her to get some redemption on the person who did turn her back on Nia.
Yep.
Who did steal her championship. And to this, we haven't really seen a closure in this. So the fact that we're getting something, I think we have a lot of time. I have a lot of time for this.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But what is very ironic about this is just when we've got the conclusion of what was the bloodline in WWE, both Samoan women in the families, that is, Nia Jax and Naomi, seemingly come together to create this moment, whether it is the disqualification that Naomi brought into this match with her beatdown on Jade, or the beatdown on Tiffany from Nia Jax. Now, I do believe we could see this tag team match next week, Nia and Naomi versus Tiffany and Jade.
100% I'm with you there.
Yep. And there's a bit of an X factor if their alliance is still to be. I mean, Candice LeRae could very well show up in that match next week.
She could.
Yeah, I personally like, what is that going to really add?
That's what I'm trying to wrestle with in my head, but I can see it happening given the past relationship between Nia and Candice. So.
Now, as we are about 2 minutes and 40 seconds away, we showed you the new link to the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. That is turnbucklestudios.org. But if you would like to know a little bit more about the week of programming, well, sponsored by Turnbuckle Affiliation Studios, here is a quick little video to let you know what you can expect every week.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we got total non-stop action with Brace for Impact at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the Smackdown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
And that link again to the Turnbuckle Affiliation Programs is turnbucklestudios.org. You can go and meet the team as there is a section to check out every individual a part of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program as well as the shows they cover. In fact, another cool little note is there is an ability to check the shows where if you click it goes to a direct link to their last show. So go to turnbucklestudios.org today to not only find out more, but potentially find out if you want to be a part of Turnbuckle Studios through the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program or potentially collaborate with anyone as well. We look forward to hearing your next email.
Well said, Mr. Parrish again.
Now, Abraham, I want to ask you a question. If you're still in the comments, hopefully you are. I'm just going to ask, how did you find us? And what led you here? We're very appreciative of it, but we also like to know. And Fort Worth, Texas looks like it's bored from a skyline aspect.
And now we get our new United States champion making his way to the ring, Jacob Fatu, along with Solo Sikoa.
Now it is a little bit weird that we don't see a Tamatonga.
It is, but apparently he is injured and requires surgery.
Can you elaborate more on that?
That is all I have heard.
Yeah, that's where if you find a news story like that, you got to do a little bit more digging.
Now, with Jacob Fatu as your new United States champion, we could talk about the obvious LA Knight wanting a rematch, but let's take that off the table right now. Who will be the next person to step up from Jacob Fatu? And does Braun Strowman make any sense to either one of you?
I definitely can see Braun doing it. But if it weren't Braun, there's a part of me that wouldn't mind it being the man right next to him, Solo Sikoa.
And I was going to say this, as this would not surprise me if this is where we see that the result of those creepy vignettes, whether it's Alistair, whether it's Malachi, to step up right here.
With the cheers that Jacob Fatu have been getting, could this be the right time to plant the seeds between Solo and Jacob Fatu?
That's sort of what I'm getting at, but I'm also thinking that maybe you do something where Solo is jealous that Jacob has a title and Solo doesn't as well.
Well, I wouldn't say it's jealousy, but it's definitely trying to take credit. Jacob Fatu has grabbed the mic from Solo.
Well, we all know LA Knight is going to want his rematch.
Yeah, he does. any of you have a Scottish psychopath in your label?
Definitely not, but I'm all for it.
Me too. I didn't have Drew pegged for this, but
Well, we don't want to know where you're pegging Drew, but my question is, since Drew's out here, do we see a Damian Priest?
I'd be okay with that as well.
You heard it here first. Chris Best likes DP. Damian Priest, that is. Sick people. Leeds, how are you doing? Good to see you going pear-shaped now. I mean, and we got a Nick Aldis coming down.
Yep. I love exactly what Nick Aldis just did there.
yep, I'm 100% behind this.
And what Nick Aldis did do was calm the situation. He made a decision, and he said later tonight, L.A. Knight
Yeah.
will face on Drew McIntyre, and the winner will receive a title shot and be the number one contendership to Jacob Fatu's United States Championship. Now, we have Byron Saxton talking down to Zelina Vega. And up next, we have a Women's United States Championship match with Zelina Vega challenging the champion, the United States Women's Champion, your president, Chelsea Green. I already did the Chelsea Green stuff once. If people wanted more, you can hit subscribe to Turnbuckle Studios right now. You could subscribe to all the Turnbuckle Studios platforms or potentially my Instagram, and then you will get that more often.
On the daily.
Not on the daily, but when I'm on stream. So, on the streamly. And for you two, just to let you know, we now are on round 3 of the NFL draft. Shooter Sanders is still available.
Something tells me he is going to be winding up now in teal.
I kind of want him to be Mr. Irrelevant. I'm not going to lie.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. A lot of people had him on their number 2 on the mock charts. Only to be the final? Oh. Man, when they say Draft Day was a bad movie, Shooter Sanders is doing his best version of Bo Callahan as we speak about it. Now we are about 29 minutes away from commercial free, so we don't have a lot more of these commercials left. We've already played you the calendar. We don't have a hell of a lot in terms of ammunition. So I'm going to put this on to a good old-fashioned Q&A for you guys.
Ooh.
If you're in the chat and you want to know a little bit about wrestling and our thoughts, now is the time. Do it, because your questions during this commercial break will be answered on the very next one. How's that for interactivity for you guys?
I like it.
I do too. So, we touched on the idea of Bianca Belair earlier during the Tiffany Jade match. We touched on the idea of a Jordan Grace potentially during that match. We saw Roxanne Perez and Julia show up on Raw, cause a distraction during the women's tag title match. Do we see something like that again tonight?
Well, before we do that, I'm going to correct you. It was not the women's tag title match. It was the women's championship non-title match with Io Sky and Stephanie Bakir, the NXT champion versus the Raw women's champion. But we very well could. We are in Texas, and I believe Roxanne Perez also is from Texas, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't be surprised. But somebody that I would love to see kind of point out, I would just like to see a little bit of a tease from Zarya and the new Women's North American and current speed champion, Sol Ruka. I like Sol Ruka. I think her athleticism is amazing. I would like to see a little bit of that because now that we don't have a major player, unless we're getting Charlotte, I don't see a reason for Jordan Grace to appear. Because Jordan Grace and Charlotte, now that has my attention.
Right. Now I will be the first to admit I have not yet seen Stand and Deliver. I did not have Sol Ruka winning on my bingo card. I actually had Thea Hale winning the match.
Well, your streak on ladder women matches are now gone. I actually I picked Zarya kind of for the similar reason of what we're getting, of thinking that's going to be kind of the thing to create your kind of Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar competition with the tag partner. So I just had picked the other tag team partner, thinking you're going to make Sol Ruka the bigger name, but in fact, you gave Sol Ruka the moment. And she was absolutely phenomenal. So was Izzy Dane. I thought she was a standout in that match, as well as you're expected with everyone else. I thought they did great. That ladder match was fantastic. I do recommend anyone watching it.
Now, I looked at this, and I know I've said in the past that I would not be surprised to see Zarya up on the main roster teaming with Rhea Ripley very soon. I think that Sol winning now out of the Jordan Grace, Julia, Stephanie Victor, and Zarya situation, they all came in. They were all big baby faces. We've seen the sort of heel turn from Julia. I think that losing that ladder match is going to give Zarya that heel turn as well.
Yeah, and I actually wouldn't even hate if Sol Ruka was the female added to the Paul Heyman group that we're getting. However, I think that's a long shot, to be quite honest. I'm aware of that. I would be very intrigued by a heel Sol Ruka, but at the same time, yeah, Zarya does make some sense. However, I think Sol Ruka is more of that character.
Mm-hmm.
And Zarya is more of that ass kicker, and I'd prefer the ass kicker to be my baby face.
I kind of love how since stepping away from the LWO, Zelina Vega is really coming to her own once again.
Yeah.
I do agree. I do think there's still something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm not too sure what that is. But I am very intrigued now with it being a 3-on-1 with the Secret Service kind of already physically getting involved. I wonder if this is the good time for, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter to come out and equal out the odds.
Right.
WWE reminding you that the Clash in Paris is coming in Sunday, August 31, as well as the Monday on Monday, September 1. Combo tickets are on sale now.
It's interesting that they're holding that pay-per-view on a Sunday.
Well, I think both shows being in Paris, I think that's kind of why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
And the SmackDown prior, I believe, is in Paris as well, is it not?
I do believe so. Hey, you're giving your talent a Saturday to kind of chill and enjoy.
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, to get more information, there could be an NXT PLE on a Saturday down the
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
road. Maybe it's designed for a reason.
Of course, it could be just something simple as they couldn't get the arena for a Saturday, so
Yeah, that is just if the location for Clash in Paris is different from the one on the Raw and SmackDown.
mhm.
Right.
I do not know if that's the case. Now, OMD, I'm going to bail you out on something you said earlier regarding Tamatonga. As of right now, he is out of action, but whether or not he needs surgery is yet to be determined. But also, no specific details have yet to be put out, and that is coming from bodyslam.net.
All right.
Sometimes forget just how good Chelsea is too.
Well, there's no need to be surprised. Every Canadian is great in that ring. Also, John Cena is appearing at the NFL draft. Not in person, but he does have a video. As the New England Patriots are drafting from the very nice 69th spot in round 3.
69 dudes. So the secret Herbis has been sent to the back.
Yes, after Alba Fire was caught red-handed trying to get involved. How dare she?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
I
just
did
like
not
that,
see that coming.
we have a new United States Women's Champion. So Zelina Vega has upset Chelsea Green to take the championship, now making her the shortest champion.
I literally thought Chelsea was going to take the win in this one.
So did I, but I am okay with this.
This does represent Zelina Vega's first singles championship in WWE,
Yes, it does.
as she is also now has become the second ever Women's United States Champion, thus meaning that this is the first mid-card Women's Championship to change hands. So we have just witnessed history here tonight. Now, if we were to get Carmelo Hayes come out, and The Miz, is it possible that we could see an Andrade come out and this is your introduction to the return
Could be.
to one Aleister Black?
It could very well be that way.
Now, dressing in white, we do see Ms. Mello. I'm saying Miz just looks like a marshmallow.
Yeah.
As we got Keenan Dion coming in saying, "What's up, guys? What's up, Keenan? How are you doing? We are just three men watching SmackDown, but we're also known as Smackdown Security Detail. How are you? Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Are you watching SmackDown? That is the question."
I just can't get over how gaudy and tacky that necklace was that the Miz gave him. But obviously that's purposely done that way.
I loved it. I'm not gonna.
I did too. I loved it. That was brilliant. It's an easier way of carrying the trophy to the ring.
It's Carmelo Hayes' Ula Fala now.
Yeah.
I just look at the trophy itself being tacky. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Dion has said, I am, yes, waiting for Black to return. Now, I love the fact that you just said Black. But what Black will it be? Will it be Alistair? Will it be Malachi? I think it's definitely worth asking, as we didn't see Miro return on Monday or even debut. We saw Rusev return. But nonetheless, we saw Shawn Spears come to NXT, not Ty Dillinger. So I think anything and everything is potential when it comes to a name nowadays.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, Keenan, Dion, whatever. I maybe created a new name for you. I don't know. I apologize. But what name do you want the artist formerly known as Tommy End to be called?
The new Prince Iakea.
I know that you appreciated the wordplay I had.
Well, I was going to say it's going to be neither Alistair nor his AEW. It's Seth Rollins. He's going to change his name to Tyler Black.
There we go.
OMD, I am actually going to be on your side if you want to choose this to be your time to put him in timeout for that comment, but I know you won't.
No,
We're not American
was...
nor have service, but crickets are speaking loudly on that one. But, I mean, that is a good question. What do we expect him to be called? Seriously. I do think Alistair Black will be the name that we see him back as. Heenan Dion is also saying maybe Alistair. But what do you guys think?
I'm thinking it's Alistair.
I'm with you guys. It is Alistair. I'm curious if he comes back to a new theme, just like Rusev did on Monday.
You know, I was thinking about this today. As much as I just want to hear, no man is ever truly good. I love that theme. That is my favorite Alistair Black theme. I know that he had a second one after that I didn't care for.
Mm-hmm.
However, it does make sense if he does have a new one. As we have the Miz in the ring talking about not being utilized at WrestleMania. But forgetting the memo that you do not wear white after Labor Day. And yes, there was Labor Day. Not this year, but last year. I really hope he does. He is now complaining about Rey Fenix taking the spot of Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. So maybe now he's complaining about Joe Hendry being on WrestleMania.
The crowd is looking at something in the aisleway.
I'm sure there's something being set up.
Mm-hmm.
You can color me happy.
Me
Right
too.
now.
I love this theme.
As Keenan Dion coming in saying, well. Yeah, that was my poor attempt at an LOD impersonation. Aleister Black is back with the theme that he should be coming out to. Because no man is ever truly good. No man is ever truly evil. He may do the things you never could. And that's why he'll never be equal. Something tells me he is just happy.
Well, for two reasons. His return is happening right now, and one, in the other, in the previous match, his wife won the U.S. title. And he's been saying for years that he wants to come back, so.
I know. My reason of saying this is because it's now under the Triple H era, and I think under the Triple H era, there were guys that probably would never have left had they known Triple H was going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
Aleister Black is definitely one of them. And it just makes all the sense in the world that he's here. Now, I'm going to say this. There is a part of me that wants to see Aleister Black, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley in a group.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, you can go to Spotify and follow Metallica. But right now on SmackDown, The Miz has just faded to black.
Yeah,
Courtesy of Aleister Black. You are not wrong. Aleister Black, who has never been considered to be a body guy, looks absolutely fantastic. And despite a body filled with tattoos and stories, you can tell brother has been putting in the time. Speaking of another brother's putting in the time, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are prepping for their TLC matchup here. Montez Ford, man, that guy just is. Jack might as well be his middle name.
Yeah. And still to come, our United States Championship #1 contenders match.
As well as a TLC match. And we know in just under 2 minutes, we are commercial free. We know now under 3.5 minutes, we are in our last commercial. So let's pin this question around, everyone. Chat, you were included to type your answers here. What do you see next for Aleister Black as he is now back with the WWE? I am flat out going to predict Aleister Black will be the one to take the Intercontinental Championship off of Dominic Mysterio. That is my bold prediction. That's right. You're getting the big balls from Parrish tonight. I'm putting it out there. As Keenan Dion is saying, I love it, man. But yo, I got a question to ask the wrestling fans. Who is your favorite wrestler then and now? Keon, before we do that, let's talk about what's next for Aleister Black.
I mean, obviously next to Aleister Black is The Miz, but I'm telling if you're looking like deep into the future, I do see him going after a mid card title, be it Jacob Fatu's U.S. title or Dom's Intercontinental title.
I'm going to be honest. It's one of those things that, and I know I said this last year when Andrade returned that he was going to be Money in the Bank, but I'm going to go there. Money in the Bank for Aleister Black.
I love it, OMD. I just love the go big or go home as SmackDown is in Texas. Keon Dion, you said I love it, man. But the question you ask is who is their favorite wrestlers then and now? OMD, we'll start with you. Who is your favorite wrestler then and now?
Then and all time, the one, the only HBK Shawn Michaels. If I had to, for a favorite current, there's just too many good ones. And there's so many that just haven't had that opportunity to really delve into that spotlight. If I'm going to pick a current, I'm going to go Mellow.
All right. Best.
Growing up, my two most favorites from then were Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan. They both tie that for that top spot for me. Right now, say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry.
And for me, if you want my honest story, I was always a Shawn Michaels fan. I loved what he was. That is somebody who I personally always wanted to be, a ladies' man. Someone that also in the ring could perform only like he could, because he said it going into WrestleMania 14. You want to show, because it's all he knows, right? Shawn Michaels could just do no wrong back then. But then as he left, I became a Chris Jericho guy. And that's right. Chris Parrish, Chris Jericho makes sense, right?
Yep.
We went into a new era with the Y2J problem. I'm a big CM Punk fan for many reasons. One, just from a personal standpoint, he has brought me out of a lot of dark areas, and he has influenced me in a lot of areas. I'm also a big Adam Cole guy. I do think he is in the wrong company. But if we're talking WWE, if we're talking somebody that I love watching, probably more than anything else, I think I am flat out a Dominic Mysterio guy. Keon, to answer your question, no. I am not from Louisiana. We are all Canadian. I am from the province of Alberta, born in Edmonton. I am living in St. Albert, Alberta, a small town in Alberta. I am a Saints fan, been a Saints fan for almost 25 years. It's rough. And no, I don't like Derek Carr.
Yeah, and OMD and I are from the same province of Ontario, the same city of Sault Ste. Marie.
Yep.
The home of announcer Mark Nash.
Yes,
it is.
Now, we just heard Bianca in that backstage promo saying because she's got some broken fingers, she's taking some time off. And when she comes back, she's got some unfinished business to take care of. Now, that didn't allude to necessarily Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. Does it have to do anything with what we're seeing on our screen in this Naomi and Jade situation?
I think everything is on the table at this point due to the fact that, again, as you said, could it be Rhea Ripley, Io Sky? Could it be Naomi? Could it even be Jade Cargill? Her fingers are broken, but are her hands clean? That is the question I'm asking.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's what I've been saying all along. Like, I've been thinking, like, what if Jade was like the mastermind behind everything? As right now, we're taking a look at Naomi walking through the locker room right now.
And she was walking with caution. Bad joke, I know. Oh yeah, Jax with the line of the night. Oh, that's fantastic.
And up next, we are getting our number one contenders match for the U.S. Championship as LA Knight makes his way to the ring.
Yeah. Keenan Dion, I'm going to pose the same question. Who is your favorite wrestler then and now? As we are set for a number one contenders for the U.S. title. My question is, does Jacob Fatu allow each man to actually fight through, or does he just do what Jacob Fatu does? Anything he wants, because he is all gas, no brakes.
I think he's going to let them fight through. I think it's going to be Solo that's going to cause a disruption in this, which is going to set Jacob off and thus setting up a fatal four-way for Backlash.
That's an interesting take there.
Yes, Keenan Sen, he's an Edge and Dolph Ziggler guy.
Keenan,
So
I can
Go
get
ahead.
behind you 100%. I'm a huge Edge head. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, fantastic competitor. Not up there in terms of selling. He's up there with a Shawn Michaels, but as far as overall career trajectory, it's sort of not there. I know he's having a fantastic run in TNA now, but his start-stop in WWE has really hindered him.
See, I don't think there was any hindering because Dolph Ziggler and Nick Nemeth are two different people.
No, they're two different characters.
Yes.
I will say, though, Keenan, on this day, you're here to show the world. But by the end of this day, you're just a wanted man. Now, earlier, Drew McIntyre alluded to Damian Priest not being there. There's something in me that tells me that's not the case. And I wonder if Drew McIntyre could be screwed out of this through an interference by Damian Priest, that allowing their feud to continue and LA Knight to get his rematch, and thus potentially giving us closure between Jacob Fatu and LA Knight.
See, there's something to me that says Priest isn't there and that the situation at WrestleMania was the finality to that. I think we are going to see Priest potentially move back into the world title scene after SummerSlam.
Oh, you're giving it like some time.
I'm going
Yeah, I
to
was
give
going
it
to
some
say,
time.
so what do you do with Damian between now and then?
In the meantime, I think you're going to have to see him. I mean, we know what he did on Raw. Now you need to see him do it unfortunately, he'll have to repeat it all on SmackDown, get himself back up there.
But does he stay on SmackDown? That is the question. We do know there is a draft coming up. The date we do not know yet. By the way, the swords going down the ring posts are fantastic. That is through Drew McIntyre's entrance. But at the same time, though, like, do we see Damian Priest staying on SmackDown?
I do. You just moved him over during that transfer portal. You're not going to move him back to Raw. You just moved Drew during that transfer portal. You're not going to move him back to Raw. I think you're going to see an LA Knight move to Raw. I believe you're probably going to see a Carmelo Hayes move to Raw and become babyface. And we're going to get Mello versus Dom.
See, now I'm not even sure if I like Mello turning babyface.
Yeah, I don't know if I have Mello turning babyface. I actually think I have Dom turning babyface before Mello.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're more likely to get Mello and Miz down the road if, and only if, we don't get a tenure of Mello Miz as a tag team. But yeah, I could see the Miz potentially getting beaten down by one Carmelo Hayes with the help of an upcoming Trick Williams, who is now showing an attitude adjustment of his own in NXT.
See, and I'm thinking you're going to get, when Trick Williams comes up, whether it's during that draft or not, I think you're going to see a reunion of the Trick Mello gang.
Which is exactly what I'm saying as well.
But imagine that duo as a heel tag team.
Yep.
Keenan Dion is asking, are we Wyatt 6 fans?
100% I am.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not be? Are you? That is the question. Are you?
Drew just laying it into LA Knight right now, and that's what you got to do if you want this shot.
Now, there is a part of me, as OMD is going to step out for a minute. I kind of want to see Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, me too.
Especially if we do get a Jacob Fatu babyface turn. Him versus Drew McIntyre could be fun to watch. As Keenan Dion is saying, definitely, I have a Bray tattoo on my arm. I absolutely love Bray Wyatt so much. Just to give you a little bit of a teaser, when my wife and I are expecting our son, the names Bray and Wyatt were thrown around. And no, my wife is not a wrestling fan. In fact, ironically enough, she told me no wrestling names and then proceeded to give me nothing but wrestling names as options because no, she does not watch the current product. I found that very funny. But still to come, still is a TLC match with DIY Motor City Machine Guns and the Street Profits for your SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Going to be fun. Also, a reminder that we are now in the final hour in SmackDown. We are commercial free.
I kind of forgot that we were going commercial free because I'm like, wait, where's the commercial break during this match? So used to the first hour of our shows being commercial free, not the last hours.
Well, with the final two matches being a number one contendership match and match for your championships in the tag team division, there's action you don't want to miss. And I don't know if this is the first time LA Knight and Drew McIntyre have faced off, but it is the first time, I believe, that they have truly had a real encounter in the ring since their potential incident at the Royal Rumble, where, yes, if people weren't aware, coming out of the Royal Rumble, it was appeared that Drew McIntyre was not happy with LA Knight and Logan Paul. I can confirm that is not the case. OMD is back, ready to go.
I am.
Clearly, he needed to fart and someone else came out. But nonetheless, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. No, I didn't need to fart.
We're getting a very physical match between Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. Drew McIntyre is taking the fight to LA Knight, but LA Knight is taking the same fight back to Drew McIntyre. You love to see it. Also, just for fun, if you guys are a fan of Chris Van Vliet, just know he has an incoming interview with not only one Joe Hendry. There you go, Beth. I got your attention.
I'm going to be listening for sure.
But also one Snitsky.
The Snitsky one sounds intriguing as well.
But also a potential one with Bret Hart.
That one's going to be even more interesting. I think Van Vliet might have to set aside 3 hours for that one, though.
Well, I hope he doesn't have a timetable because Brett is definitely on hard time. If you don't know the joke, that's on you. If you know the joke, that's funny. But right
Oh,
now,
look,
it's
there's
way more. Come. Oh,
there's Damien.
I don't want. Now this means that Drew McIntyre won the match.
He did, but we also saw some Solo interference.
Yeah, Solo showed up too.
Yeah, but it wasn't a part. The ring was set after Damian Priest got involved and beat up Drew McIntyre. And you know what? I love it because their match at WrestleMania, I think, got overshadowed by the rest of night 2
Mm-hmm.
and the takeaway from the finale. But I thought they kicked the living crap out of each other. That finish was spectacular that they had.
It was a fantastic match.
And I think people need to really go back and watch it the same way whereas the year prior, I think Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins had a match that got overshadowed.
Oh, LA's not happy with Damien right now.
No, and he flat out said, "You just cost me the #1 contendership."
And I believe this is how Damien's involvement in this situation is going to take place now.
Yeah. I think we're set to get a multi-man match at Backlash for the United States title. And I do think Braun Strowman somehow gets involved and we could get a 6-pack challenge.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going to go with OMD?
Well, I was going to say we were going to get the 4-way, just wasn't going to be with Solo like I initially thought. But I think you're right. I think the 6-pack challenge, 6-pack scramble.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't mind if they brought back the scramble match.
Yeah, I know that one didn't go over so well. I know that that's sort of how they run the Iron Survivor in NXT. So maybe a new look at it on the main roster would be good.
See, I thought those scramble matches were fantastic.
I'm also gonna say this. How good would Jacob Fatu be in an elimination chamber match? And then let's add some physical components. Let's add a Drew McIntyre. Let's add a Braun Breaker. Let's add an Ilya Dragunov. Let's add a Gunther. But let's add a Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
How fun would that be?
Right.
Just at that point, I'm like, yeah, shut up, take my money. I'll be sitting front row ringside for this one.
Best, we need you for a PLE patrol for that. You can't go. I'm sorry. Duty calls.
Yeah, you are the chief content officer here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Well,
so
let's not title this up now.
Well, that's too late. I already did that a couple of weeks ago when I had him and Carl on the locker room breakdown.
I mean, you might as well call myself and Parrish that because we both do a lot of the content work for the channel.
True. Parrish is the understudy.
You are the content. I am more of the creative side. We'll go with.
Yeah.
So I think I have pretty much done about 80% of the logos around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan, if you think that is a funny thing, we tend to kind of just banter a lot with each other, and we're all friends, we're all buddies.
Yeah.
As Jacob Parrish, by the way, has been drafted, spelled differently, and because it's the Bucks, I hate him. But besides the point, just know we will always despite anything we say, we're always friends. But yes,
Yeah.
we will go off the rails a bit, and we will do it at each other's expense. We will make sure of that. And so if you're new to that, just know, just be aware. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Right?
But 85 picks in, no Schroeder Sanders.
Jeez.
So now the question is, does he even top 100?
He will be the 99th pick.
As we now get a recap of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman taking down CM Punk with Roman Reigns coming down, delivering that big spear to Seth Rollins, that Superman punch to Paul Heyman, only for us to get welcomed by the former Intercontinental Champion of Braun Breaker. And whether or not you think this is a modern day evolution with Paul Heyman representing your past, Seth Rollins representing your present, Braun Breaker representing your future, or you think this is a modern day dangerous alliance, all we know, the landscape has changed in WWE.
And who or what do we think is next for Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins?
I think a tag match against Punk and Rollins makes a lot of sense.
I do too. But I'm thinking in terms of a new member, who do we see coming in next?
To go around it, I don't know if I see a new individual member.
Our truth, man, delivering gold.
Yep. Keenan Dion is giving us an answer to the question as I drifted off into Entertainment City with our truth. And John Cena, though, he's saying Theory. Well, next Friday, though, we are getting Aleister Black versus The Miz. But OMD, let's start with you. If there was a next individual to be slated into this thing, who are you going to say? Because you posed the question.
I did.
I need more time to think, so
I did.
who
And
do you think?
I really like the pick, and I think you're looking at potentially a tag team so that you can bring back that, Monday Night Messiah type of thing. And I think that A-Town Down Under fits that.
I'll give you another one on the tag team side, and I think this is very intriguing. We saw the debut on SmackDown from the team Fraxium. But what if we get Tyler Black's, aka Seth Rollins, protege Nathan Frazier joining him with a kid, but unmasked. And that is now your tag team of the future.
I'm behind it 100%. We do know that Theory and Seth have that history from the Monday Night Messiah days, so we don't know if that is going to be the fit. The other, I guess, individual that I would like to see do that would maybe be a returning Ilya Dragunov.
Okay. Now, if we were to go to a woman's side, I think Becky Lynch fits the mold as she just turned on Lyra. But if we're going to go outside of Becky Lynch, I think a very good candidate could be Tiffany Stratton.
Okay. I get where you're coming from with Becky Lynch. I'm not feeling it, and I know that they've both said that they're not comfortable doing the power couple thing.
It doesn't have to be a power couple.
No, it doesn't.
I think what we don't know yet is what really is the genesis of why this is
Right.
the pairing between Braun, Seth, and Heyman. And I think until we figure that out or we find that out, then
Right.
it's better suited. But Bess, we haven't heard from you. Who do we think before we get the Street Profits coming out to begin this TLC match?
Well, I went the way of the tag team as well, but I didn't go with any Raw tag teams. And I was just thinking about who would be like a perfect fit, not with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, but with Paul Heyman. And I thought DIY could very well be that fit.
Okay. As for a woman, I would go to NXT, and I'm not gonna give you a Roxanne Perez or a Julia, an up and comer, and a Kalani Jordan.
See, when it came to women, I thought I also went to NXT, but I went to JC Jane for some reason.
Okay, I can get behind that.
See, if I'm going with women here, who screams more of a Paul Heyman girl than Jordan Grace?
Yeah. Yeah, I would be okay with that.
See, and again, like, because there's another tag team in NXT that I think would absolutely fit that. We haven't seen them in a while, that being Gallus.
They've been wrestling on Evolve every week just to keep everybody updated. But yeah, Gallus would be cool. But I also like the idea where Parrish mentioned about Gallus possibly forming an alliance with Drew McIntyre. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Street Profits giving their best homage to the one and only Shawn Michaels here tonight
Yes.
with their zebra print gear, but also the poses at the stage.
Yeah.
Now, Shawn Michaels, not exactly a TLC icon, but a ladder match innovator.
Yes.
As yes, he was part of the first ladder match in the WWF. Now, as much as you think it's Razor Ramon at WrestleMania, it was not. It was with Bret the Hitman Hart when he was still being brought down the ring by the sensational Sherry. In a losing effort, he did not win that match, just like the match at WrestleMania 10, where he was most iconic with Razor Ramon.
Right. And see, and it's funny because I've looked up the history, and because it was even referenced that the match against Razor was the first ever ladder match in WWF history.
No. It was Brett and Sean, and I think it was for the WWF title, wasn't it? Or was
No, it's for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't remember if Brett, because I know Brett had to defend the title against Sean as soon as he beat Flair for the WWF title.
Yeah, no, it was for the Intercontinental Championship. Brett did defeat Sean for that. It's one of those Coliseum home video releases. If you remember that, yes, we are showing our age with that reference. But
and the match is somewhere on the vault. I can't remember which show it is, but I know it's there.
Yeah. It was actually a match that was designed to impress and showcase to Vince what it was, because ironically enough, Bret Hart wanted that match to be with him and Owen at SummerSlam 94 instead of a steel cage. And what the story tells us is Shawn Michaels pitched him and Razor for it at WrestleMania 10. Vince actually never watched the ladder match with Bret and Shawn. He just trusted both men.
Oh.
Keon, you probably are. You probably are. But OMD, as you were busy figuring out the combination to your locker in that locker room visit, Best and I were giving our predictions for this match. Best said he wants to see DIY take the titles home. I stayed with the Street Profits retaining their title. Who is your early predictions in this TLC match? As I also open up this to the comment section as well.
My early prediction would be that the Street Profits retain, but I think the longer this match goes, I think you go to the tag team with the most experience and the Motor City Machine Guns.
3 men, 3 different answers. That's exactly what you want in a street.
Yep.
Somebody's going to be correct. Who will it be? But the chat, who do you have going?
Now, I know 2 different brands, but I think I would have preferred this match to be on WrestleMania over New Day and the War Raiders.
I think that's a consensus with a lot of people. And as Keenan is, he's already... Keen, I see we're forming chemistry here, and I thank you for agreeing with me with the Street Profits. But to answer your question, I think this match is going to get a lot more time to breathe on SmackDown than it would at WrestleMania. My question is, like, where would it fit? And yes, the easy answer is where the Raw tag title is.
Right.
But does it get the right amount of time to breathe in that time frame? That is my honest question. I don't think it does. I think this is more of a...
I think if you were going to do it, then this match... And yes, like you said, the easy answer is for the Raw tag titles. No, I think this match would have opened night 1 over Jay and Gunther.
Yeah, but again, as Parrish has mentioned, you got to look at the match times, because a lot of the match times at WrestleMania 41 barely cleared 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't think this match would have gotten the time that it needs for it to breathe, as Parrish had mentioned.
I mean, it might have, though. Like, we know that if there's one thing Triple H knows and executes very well. It's the ability to change and adapt on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, even one former Baron Corbin, now Bishop Dyer, said on the Busted Open talk show, he is the king of the fixing of the situation. So we just never know what he could have done. But as we look at it, he was the one that got Joe Hendry against Randy Orton and created a monumental moment
Yes.
that went viral with the WWE and the wrestling world. He was also the one that chose Rey Fenix to go up against El Grande Americano, which was a fantastic match itself, and allowed Rey Fenix to have his WrestleMania debut in his 4th match with the company.
Yes.
What a first month for Rey Fenix.
Right.
Yeah, and there's only like one other wrestler who has debuted in less than 4 matches, and that's Fandango.
Yep.
That was his WrestleMania debut. Was his first match
Yep.
under the Fandango gimmick. But these 6 men are just putting on one hell of a TLC match. Those belts just swinging back and forth like a pendulum right now.
Okay, we see it. And we just saw a big ending from Angelo Dawkins on to Johnny Gargano.
Oh, that was definitely a tribute to Big E there.
It's a fantastic move, and if Big E can't be there to perform it, somebody else.
Could we see something in this match like we saw a few years ago at Money in the Bank, where Mustafa Ali was supposed to win,
and Brock Lesnar comes back and retrieves the title?
Yeah. Could we see something like that with a new tag team?
I hope not. I think if there's one thing the fans wanted, that is a showcase of the tag team division. I think these are the 3 best teams on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think this is the way to give the tag team division all the spotlight. I don't think you're going to finalize that with a random run-in. Because is there another team that makes sense to doing that?
I would have suggested a Pretty Deadly.
But then why wouldn't you just have them in the match to earn it, as they are now baby faces?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to have made more sense to just add them to this match.
Now, I will say, what if whoever wins this match, what if we just see absolute carnage at the end, and we see Gallus just absolute demolish everyone?
I'm going to say the same, but what if it's the Wyatt 6?
My question would be why would it be the Wyatt 6, and who would they target?
Yeah.
That is their MO, right? They do target specific.
Yeah.
At the very least, Gallus is looking to make an impact. But I'll let you kind of defend your pick on that one, because I don't hate it. I'm just asking a question. Oh my god! Oh my god!
I could see.
Oh my god! Oh.
I could see if the Wyatt 6 are going to do this, it being against DIY, who we know Gargano's history with the Machine Guns and specifically Alex Shelley.
That's where I'm going with that, is that with DIY having turned on the Machine Guns, the MO seems to be with the Wyatt Six is they take down anybody who turns on their friends or family. And it could be very well that they just want a shot at the tag titles.
But see, the gold was never the MO of a Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt Six.
See, to me, that just screams to why Judgment Day makes so much sense. You can have Uncle Howdy go up against Dom Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the other two go up against JD and Carlito.
Yep.
All of a sudden, now Nikki Cross can be there, but who's going to challenge for the tag? Oh, yeah, that's where you bring Alexa Bliss. But who can be up against Finn Balor? Maybe that's where you bring in Aleister Black. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Or Braun Strowman.
Oh, somebody's leg just got used. Nice.
Well, the TLC really means for table, legs, and chairs.
Right.
Or leg, as only one was used. Yes, a prosthetic leg was used in this matchup by Montez Ford. As Ford always seems to find a way to get a leg up in the competition, as we just saw Montez do so on SmackDown in a TLC match.
I'm even noticing on the Street Profits tights, the writing of the Street Profits is actually in the font of the old HBK logo as well.
No, their whole gear is definitely inspired by Shawn Michaels.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
As we just saw Alex Shelley splash Angelo Dawkins, I believe, through the table.
Chris Sabin.
Chris Sabin. My apologies. Thank you for the correction. But we saw Montez Ford do a top rope swanton. Well, he didn't jump off the top rope. He ran over the top rope. Swanton onto Tommaso Ciampa through a table. So Carnage, chaos, all that happening tonight. This is a TLC match that is putting no stop.
mean, Ciampa and Montez Ford just like putting each other through stuff right now.
Right?
Yep, we just saw from an air raid. Tommaso Ciampa just put Montez Ford through a ladder. Somebody in the crowd having a Carlito t-shirt. Good for you. Mad respect.
Well, that might do it for Gargano.
Nah, he'll kick out.
Well, we're going to get the skull and bones on the table.
The innovative offense from the Motor City Machine Guns has made its impact in a TLC match here on SmackDown. Now, I'm going to pose a question. With what we have seen so far, are we unhappy that this match is on SmackDown?
No.
Oh, hell no.
Tommaso Ciampa, for a second time, is inches away from retrieving the championships. Does he do it?
No, nope, he's going for a swing. Oh, now they're going to play pinata with him.
Or are we going to get the infamous spear off the top of the ladder?
I think we are.
Yeah, we are. Holy Christ.
Yep.
Has this just opened the door for the machine guns, though?
That's what I was thinking when they were setting this up. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely going up the Machine Guns alley because now they're fresh while everyone else is down. They're fresh enough to get up there and grab the belts.
You know what the guns need now is they need Rhino to come out and carry them up the
I told you he's kicking out.
I was going to say, are we going to get the infamous ladder swing or the infamous belt swing into somebody's head?
Potentially.
I was going to say Montez Ford's been down for quite a while. I love the desperation we're getting out of all three teams, though, right now.
Right?
I don't think Montez Ford likes Johnny Gargano's desperation, though.
No.
I am definitely not mad at that finish.
No, not at all.
Neither am I. As my buddy, Kane and Dion. Nah. We wanted the smoke.
The thing is, before that finish, I was wondering, like, have we ever seen a finish where at least one member from each team was up on the ladder battling before the finish? I don't think so. There probably has been, but I don't remember.
That's the thing. It's been an hour.
It's been a minute.
No. I know the hot minute's been a thing. I did a podcast before. We changed from hot minute to a horny hour, but I didn't want to say it. So thanks for putting it out there. But, you know, it's been a sexy second since we've seen it. That's right. I adapt. I'm old. Sometimes a second is enough time. But it's been a while. I'm not going to say we haven't. I'm not going to say we have. But best, you might be onto something. But this is exactly why, if you enjoyed this TLC match, you got to go back and watch the ones that came before it.
Yeah.
But dare I say, the Street Profits, the Machine Guns, and DIY have done exactly what Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys have done. And that is put emphasis back on the tag team titles through the use of tables, ladders, and chairs. And this match was more than just awesome. It was more than just amazing. This match was absolutely iconic in my eyes to turn the page into the new age of the tag team division.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Parrish. Well said.
Well, thank you. Also, there's been 5 quarterbacks now drafted before Sugar Sanders. I'm just going to put that out. It's quite fun. Now, I'm just going to say this. If I'm putting one guy out there that absolutely fantastically performed in this match, the easy and obvious flashy answer is Montez Ford, but I'm not saying Montez Ford. No. I think Mr. Dawkins deserves his praise tonight. That's right. Angelo Dawkins, I believe, absolutely balled out tonight and deserves some respect to his name because he absolutely sacrificed and did everything he could tonight.
See, and I'm going to go with a guy who does deliver on a consistent basis, but again, hasn't really been given the time to shine. And my MVP for this match is Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling.
thought you were going to Ciampa because I also thought Ciampa was my number 2. But I'll put this out into the chat too before we get to best and your thoughts on your performer of the night in this match. But yeah, I mean, MVP of this TLC match, who do you got?
I got to go with Gargano again. I loved the desperation that he had for trying to gain the tag titles. It just added that extra oomph into just how important those tag team championships are to these teams. Even all 6 of them.
Yeah.
Just stole it, you know?
Mm-hmm. As we're getting a prime hydration promotional consideration, we're getting our executive producers. We're getting all rights reserved, signifying the end of tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. Netflix is telling us we're good. We're done. That big end. And the has come down. So, everybody, what were your thoughts on tonight's SmackDown? Bess, we'll start with you.
Just fantastic. What a way to end off WrestleMania week. Everything about this show is just from bell to bell, completely entertaining. I might have been able to shrink about 3 or 4 minutes off the John Cena promo, I think. But other than that, everything else was just fantastic. A lot of unexpected events. I mean, I did not have Zelina Vega winning the U.S. title tonight on my bingo card. I really thought Chelsea was going to get her win. But if you guys want to find me, you can look for me at my Linktree, linktr.ee/Chris_best83. Tomorrow you can catch me live 8 p.m. Eastern for Saturday Night Gaming.
Awesome. OMD, what did you think of tonight's show?
It was amazing show. It was good to be here for the full 3 hours, as I will be every Friday from now on. I think, we could have cut some time off of the John Cena Orton promo. But for me, that one was Orton doing more talking than anything. I would have just preferred it come out, be that straight up, look, I want you at Backlash, get it over and done with. The Tiffany Jade was really probably the biggest surprise moment of the night for me in getting that match. But even with the uncertainty on both women's parts, because you could see it on both.
Yeah.
They still knocked it out of the park. They still delivered. And to cap it off with that TLC match, this show was just incredible. What a week after WrestleMania. Now we head to Backlash, and then my guess is we get the draft post-Backlash.
That's right.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for me, you can find me at my Linktree, linktr.ee/OMDShow. And Mr. Parrish, the ball is in your court.
Well, as I dribble between opinions, I'm going to say I love the fact that what we got was exactly as advertised. And sometimes we don't need those surprises to have a good show. No, we got a TLC match that stands the test of time. Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns DIY absolutely delivered. And I couldn't be more happier for them because those titles deserve representation. Yes, you might have wanted on WrestleMania, but what you got in SmackDown, how can you complain? We got Aleister Black making his return in a fantastic segment with The Miz. Going to have his first match next week against The Miz. And I think that is absolutely incredible. That music, yeah, 5 stars. Easily. Yes. Jade Cargill coming down, stepping up. I loved it. But then we also got the return of Nia Jax, and I could not have loved that even more because I think that's fantastic. Nia Jax brings a different dimension to this women's division. If you want to find me, I got a Linktree/Chris Parrish. You can find me always on the PLEs for WWE at Beardcade YEG locally here in Edmonton, Alberta, 10544 82nd Ave. You can check them out on Facebook at Beardcade White. You can check out them on Instagram at Beardcade White and on the X on Beardcade YEG. If you want to check me out, check out the Chris Parrish podcast every Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the 5 platforms of Doom: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and X. Until then, OMD, do you want to say to let the people go home as best? I'm sure you have the graphic and the outro video ready to go.
I will let the people know that the world is a scary place. Take care of each other. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
I'll be there when you're down, when you're losing your ground, till the afterglow, the afterglow. Fading away, you look so great when you gotta shine. One more part of you is gone now, as you keep smiling at the crowd. Pressure is your best enemy, spotlight show what I wanna see. Sometimes it feels like you're under attack, you're just